Today with me, I have Tiberiu from Romania from the Trained Intuition, a startup that helps the startups. That's how I would introduce it. Welcome to Startup Revolution.
Thank you very much for having me.
Wonderful. We talked with founders. Now we're talking with some of the mentors. So you were a mentor here at PODIM, and you actually have a lot of mentoring sessions today. Could you share some more of how the flow is going to go? What are some of the things that you can help the startups most on?
So one of the things that I noticed even from yesterday, as I saw the semifinals of the pitch competition, is the fact that a lot of the startups need the proper training on pitch deck design and pitching to investors. And one of the things that founders easily miss is the fact that when they are on stage or they are in the boardroom in front of a bunch of investors, during their first meeting, the pitch deck and the actual speech is just a form of making a first good impression. It's not the last chance to present their entire business with cluttered slides with a lot of details and with a long speech that details all of their financial projections and all of the aspects and features of their business. And sometimes investors get completely disengaged with a startup pitching because of these aspects, because the founder is not concise and is not pointing towards the main aspects of a business, that is the size and the urgency of the problem that the startup is solving and the potential of the market, along with the quality of their teams, because products can change.
Yes,
Products can pivot a lot. I saw a lot of investors investing in average products with absolutely amazing teams, amazing market potential, and very, very deep societal problems. And along the way, maybe that team actually gave up on their initial product and pivoted and created another much better product. So I saw that even yesterday during the pitch competition. And one of the things that I work on with startups is that deep validation of the problem, the product market fit, along with the business model they're gonna experiment, and obviously going all the way towards designing a proper pitch deck for the first interactions and the proper public speaking skills that they need to pitch a good deck in an exceptional way.
Absolutely. Great points. I think that's very important, everything that you mentioned. And now to kind of connect this with your background, what parts of your experience before have helped you to be a good mentor now and to give good advice to the startups? So could you share more about your background and kind of connect it to the things that you're helping the startups right now?
So one of the things from my personal background that has helped me a lot is the fact that I'm quite passionate about neuroscience and psychology. So I read quite a lot about all of the neurological and psychological aspects that come into place when interacting with someone, either giving advice or receiving advice. So two of the things that I see quite essential and that I'm implementing when doing mentorship sessions are two psychological methods. One is a method that all of the mentors are supposed to borrow from the famous Greek philosopher Socrates, and that is to continuously ask questions and to guide a startup founder, through questions to actually find their own truth in the market. A mentor, no matter if that mentor is a subject matter expert, be it a digital marketing expert, a legal expert, an HR expert, a mentor at least from my point of view, is not supposed to come into a mentorship session and tell a startup founder, like a ad hoc CEO, do this, do that.
Wow, that's such a great point. It's such a great point.
The second one is something that I borrowed from an amazing book, which is called Radical Candor. Radical Candor is a method of interacting with someone when giving advice that is in between two extremes. One is the harsh extreme, where a mentor goes in and tells a startup founder, your team sucks, your product is never going to make it, and they're just being way too harsh. And the other extreme is the nice guy approach. Even though a mentor believes that there's not a big potential for the startup, they go and say, look, maybe you're gonna make it, try out. And none of these approaches,
to sugarcoating.
exactly, none of these approaches actually work. Radical candor means that the mentor is talking to the startup founder in a very pragmatic manner, delivering harsh truths without being actually harsh in the human to human approach, because that's going to be the approach that will make the founder take action after a mentorship session.
Absolutely agree, but I feel like this is also applicable in any aspect of mentorship that you have throughout your career, because I know that my mentors have really helped me to kind of get out of my comfort zone by asking me questions or giving me certain challenges. How can I overcome them, or where do some of my beliefs come from, and why do I have them, and how can I challenge them in a way to be better? So I want to ask you, do you have any mentors of your own that inspired you to kind of take on this role? You mentioned some good, for example, technique and approaches, but can you share something about one of your mentors that you had in your career?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of my good friends whom I also taught entrepreneurship courses with. His name is Tariq. He's a serial entrepreneur. He built startups in the US, the UK, the MENA region, and he had several fails, several very successful exits, and also a financial background, like the kind of Wall Street financial background, was and always is extremely helpful to me, because he's always delivering advice with that Wall Street very pragmatic mentality. And he always reminds me, when I'll give you an example, a funny and a serious one. Whenever I get out of a mentorship session, and I believe that I have a perspective that is quite common sense, and maybe I'm frustrated that a startup founder didn't understand what I believed is common sense advice, he always brings me back to reality by saying one thing: Tiberiu, remember, common sense is not that common.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's good advice. Good advice to kind of do a self-check-in on
Absolutely.
everything.
Yeah. I mean, any mentor at the end of the day needs his own mentors. And even more than that, sometimes we need to realize that we get to such a level with startup founders, because we're talking about their teams as well. We're talking about their work-life balance, their struggles, that we're kind of therapists in disguise.
Yeah, that's true. I agree with you 100%. You were also part of the jury that defined the semifinals for PODIM. So 10 startups were in the semifinals. Are there any startups that you're especially looking forward to see them in the final round right now that are moved on? They're going to be pitched today. Can you share more about them, if there's anyone that stuck out to you?
Well, I'll give you a couple of examples from the final list today. So I usually am really invested and passionate about startups that go by the doing well by doing good philosophy. So they really want to make an impact, whether or not they can become unicorns. So there are startups right now in the final that follow that path. And also, I really appreciate startups that value the time of the investors in front of them, of the audience and everything, and really prepare well. So I'll give you the example of Skill Plates, one of the startups in the final, and you could see even from the online pitch competition and during the semifinals, you could see that the founders have really prepared well for the pitch. They knew their pitch by heart. They were adding tone of voice, eye contact, stage movement. And I'll give you an even better example. During the online competition, the founder of Skillplate came online from a podcast studio, like
wow.
with the microphone, with lights and everything. And it was a completely different experience for the jury, and it made that first good impression in comparison to other founders. Obviously, that's not to say that all the founders should actually rent a podcast studio on the day, because that might be cash intensive,
Yes.
on the day of a pitch competition. The Skillplate founders have a marketing agency behind them, so they had those resources. But it was very, very impactful to see how well prepared that startup is. So to sum up, the sustainability startups I value a lot, and obviously the ones that show the audience that they are really well prepared.
This podcast would not be possible without our sponsors. So huge thank you to ProCredit Bank Macedonia for sponsoring Startup Revolution. And also a huge shout out to the PODIM team for allowing us to be at the conference and film all of these wonderful conversations. Enjoy the rest of the podcast. Oh, great. That's a good example, what you shared right now. Probably someone going and thinking out of the box of how they can present themselves and actually putting some effort in it, because they easily could have not done that, but they decided to do it, take the time to kind of think through it and think about the pitch, how it would look for you. So that's really interesting. But if they have marketing background, there was something that that could go easy for them, because it always depends on the background on the founder of how they're also going to present certain things. If they're more in the technical background, the pitching aspects and the selling part is kind of more difficult about sharing the stories. But do you have different experiences?
I mean, the fact that you're preparing, you don't have to, again, you don't have to show up in an online pitch in a podcast studio. But how well you prepare is pointing out in the minds of investors to one essential characteristic, that is the desire to learn and coachability.
Yes.
So even though you might not have a natural talent for public speaking, the fact that you're showing that you took an online course about public speaking, or you showed up to a workshop that is provided by the incubator that you are in about public speaking, and you're trying, this will show into a pitch. And investors, again, are betting on the problem, the market potential, and the team much later on the product. So if they see that the founders are coachable, the founders still have that desire to learn, they will bet on them, because a founder that has still that drive to keep on learning, they can pivot a product anytime.
I want to ask you, do you believe in the concept of fake it till you make it when it comes to startups?
Oh, I've seen it so many times. I've seen startups arriving in black BMWs to meetings with investors that they couldn't afford,
Wow.
just to impress. I've seen startups wearing Rolex watches during pitch meetings with investors. And
When it comes to psychology, does that help? How does that? Have you gotten any feedback from the investors?
it really depends. It really depends on the region and the personality of the investors. The thing that impresses the most from my point of view is a substantial aspect, which is really searching for those investors that have a background in the industry that you're building your startup in, and really capitalizing on that, seeing that investor is a source of what we call smart money. So it's not only the fundraising part, but it's also the connections that the investor can bring to your startup. It's also the actual teaching that the investor can do for you. The investor can become a mentor. So when you come into such a meeting, um, by showing how much you are embedded in the industry, the let's say the researchers, the thought leaders in the industry, whom you know, will definitely impress the investor, even though you don't have a kind of a speed dial to the most famous researcher in your field or the thought leader. If you have spoken to those people at least once, you gathered knowledge, you have some form of access to them, it's a, let's say, a substantial form of fake it till you make it in the eyes of investors. And yes, it works because it has substance.
Understood. And is there anyone else that you're looking forward at seeing at Podium and having a conversation?
Well, just this morning, I saw an amazing presentation of an educational startup called Roybe. And because I'm passionate about edtech, I was blown away by what an educational robot can do in terms of the impact it can have in the lives of children. And I I'm really passionate about mentoring edtech startups because I have the belief as a human being that education is key in terms of advancing in any other field at the end of the day. So without education, we cannot hope to cure cancer, to have better health startups. We cannot hope to optimize our business processes if we don't have the right education. And I'm not talking about academic education. I'm talking about all forms of education. And if an edtech startup can democratize access, can make learning a little bit faster, that's where I see that we should be excited.
Absolutely. That's great. Such a great point. And I'm really happy that you got a chance to witness that presentation. It better meant a lot to you. And at the end, I just want to ask, where can people find you, reach out to you if they're looking for a mentoring session or just feedback on, for example, pitch decks or anything? Because you mentioned some great advice during our conversation. Where can they find you?
The best way, LinkedIn, definitely.
So they can just reach out. What is the best way to reach out to you?
By talking directly from the very first message about impact, like that's doing well by doing good. I know it sounds idealistic, but I've seen startups that have done really well, like not necessarily directly exits, but have done really well in terms of scaling up revenue, traction, profitability, doing well by doing good. So that's how I'm impressed and moved and willing to talk to a startup.
Amazing. Thank you so much for taking the time to have this conversation.
Thank you.
At the end, I would just like to ask you to share, why is it important for people to listen to this podcast or any other conversation online?
all of the materials that you can get your eyes on when it comes to entrepreneurship can be nuggets of wisdom and actionability. You might check the episodes of your podcast, the Startup Club, and you might get more knowledge from some of the guests than in an entire academic entrepreneurship course.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That's such a great point. Hopefully people will tune in for this episode and hear amazing advice. Have fun in Pudim. And also, I wish you well on the mentoring sessions. Hopefully they're going to be successful. Well, with you in them, I believe so.
Thank you.
And hopefully you're going to meet some great connections that are going to be life lasting, but also they're going to make impact in the community.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Startup Club Skopje, subscribe and hit the bell icon, all, and now
$5.
we can watch videos. Yeah.